We interrupt this programming for a WGN News special report.
Back on the air tonight with another update. Breaking news out of Pennsylvania. Former President Donald Trump shot at a rally outside Pittsburgh. The former president releasing a statement saying he was shot in the ear, but he's doing fine.
Well, let's get to the latest from our News Nation.
Spectators were critically injured. The incident is currently under investigation, and the Secret Service has formally notified the FBI. Is Chris Cuomo out there? Is that Paige? Is that what you were telling me? Quick break here on News Nation as we approach the 9 o'clock hour. On the other side of the break, our continuing coverage of the events unfolding in Western Pennsylvania, and Chris Cuomo joining us live.
Again, the former president mentioned that he was shot. He was shot in the ear. He mentioned that in Truth Social. We've also been told that the shooter has been killed by Secret Service agents. Unfortunately, an attendee was also killed. The shooter apparently was outside of the venue. This was an outside venue, but he was outside of the rally itself, perhaps in a building next door. We don't know that for sure, but he was killed by Secret Service.
And we got another update tonight from the United States Secret Service. This happened at 6:15 Eastern Time, 5:15 Chicago time, and there were multiple shots fired, according to the Secret Service. Their personnel neutralized, killed, in other words, the shooter. He's now deceased. They responded with protective measures, and they say that the former president is safe. He's being evaluated. The Secret Service says one spectator was killed. 2 spectators were critically injured. The incident is currently under investigation. We know that the FBI is there tonight. Law enforcement saying that this is being investigated as an assassination attempt. President Biden issued a statement from the White House. We saw him on camera earlier. He called this incident sick, said there's no place in America for political violence. He stopped short of calling it an assassination attempt because he wants to just follow the facts tonight. He said he reached out to the former president. He was unsuccessful in talking with him. He said he'll reach out again and he'll update the country after he talks to the former president, who now is speaking, issuing a statement, as you mentioned, Jackie, saying that for the first time, that's confirmation that he was shot. He's saying that the bullet pierced his ear, and that's what caused that blood to flow to his face and also on the side of his ear.
It's a frightening photo that we have seen many a times. Donald Trump Jr. said that he did speak to his father, and he said he was in, quote, great spirits. We want to welcome Tom Makaitis, a terrorism expert. We have him on the show very often. Tom, your take on all of this. Why don't we start with that?
Yeah, my initial take is no matter where you are on the political spectrum, this has to be categorically and unequivocally condemned. And I would call it an act of terrorism, probably perpetrated by what we call a lone wolf, an individual with an ideological motive, but probably not associated with any particular group, although we will certainly learn more. But you know, it's unfortunately indicative of the supercharged rhetoric and the demonization of people we don't agree with. But you know, it's a horrifying event. I mean, and it was an assassination attempt and came within inches of succeeding. And sadly, an innocent bystander was killed. You know, and of course, the shooter. That's what they're going to do in that kind of situation. I'm surprised that they're courting. Apparently, you know, if it was a shot from a rifle from a roof, they're going to have to look at why the area wasn't a little better secured. But we don't know enough to say that yet.
I was going to say, Tom, you know, it looks like this was a spectacular security failure. How in the world did this happen? I don't know the exact setup in the situation. I know Butler is a deeply red area. They may have been complacent there to say that it really isn't a high-threat environment. Of course, there's no such thing with a presidential race as a low-threat environment anymore. But they usually do, you know, kind of scour roofs, windows, any kind of vantage points where someone with a rifle could do that. You know, and we'll see. And Butler's not a particularly big town either. The other thing that I think sadly is going to happen is this is going to be grist for the conspiracy theorist mill. I fully expect that
the internet is going to explode with all kinds of speculation as to who was behind this and was it part of a larger conspiracy. And I just want to also say that, absent any evidence, I don't expect to appear. I think that's very, very unlikely. I think we're going to find it's an individual, sadly with an agenda that he chose to act on. Or they're not saying the gender, but I got the impression it was a man. But and we'll find out more once they identify him, because it usually is the case that the evidence of, there's usually some warning, but it often isn't clear until after the fact, sadly, or friends and family see it and they don't, unfortunately, let anyone know.
Oh, we've heard time and time again with serial killers and serial shooters, that they posted things online, and how many thousands and thousands of postings can security go through? In addition, well, go ahead and address that, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. One of the, when we look at this, we do what they call profiling. It's extraordinarily difficult to have a meaningful profile. And you have to be careful because, a lot of people post objectionable content and never act violently. However, one of the warning signs is an increase in both the frequency and the intensity of violent postings online. And now the people most likely to see that, and even changes in behavior, are going to be friends, family, associates, and so on. And they're the ones that need to speak up. But again, people are reluctant to do that, or they just, it isn't clear to them until after the fact. And I think that's what we will learn in the days ahead.
Yeah, Tom. Before we sort of ask you the next question, it's worth taking a moment, I think, to read the statement in full from the former president tonight that's now on social media. I want to thank the United States Secret Service and all law enforcement for their rapid response on the shooting that just took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed, and also to the family of another person that was badly injured. It's incredible that such an act can take place in our country. Nothing is known at this time about the shooter, who is now dead. I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong and that I'd heard a wheezing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place, the former president says. So I realized then what was happening. God bless America. That's from former President Donald Trump.
Several shots were fired before, several shots were fired after. I still am surprised, in such an open venue, how can you be completely secure? And he's gone to so many of them.
Yeah, exactly right. First of all, I want to say I'm relieved that the former president's remarks were very reasonable and very restrained. I mean, maybe we could have done with a little less discussion of how much blood and so on. But he didn't engage in blaming or yelling or anything like that, and it was a very responsible thing. But I can remember when President Obama was, the night he was elected, they had the rally in Grant Park, and they buttoned that area up. And that's a Secret Service nightmare, to have that much open space. And it's not easy to do. So I will withhold judgment until we know more on that. The other thing that I'm not sure the reports of, say, a rooftop shooter with a rifle is, they got him very quickly.
Yes,
which
you're
means
right.
that he might. It almost sounds to me that it might have been somebody in the crowd. Although they usually make people go through metal detectors and all that kind of stuff. But it's not helpful to speculate. We just don't know. But I think we will now. With the individual identified, which I'm sure they've done, they're going to withhold that for a while. We will. Very soon, within hours, certainly within days, without hours perhaps, but certainly within days, learn a great deal more about what took place.
Tom, before we let you go, could you just walk the audience through, I've certainly been a part of it, covered a bunch of presidential events, the layers of security. How many Secret Service are there how they're in the crowd, how they're even over where the media are separated, how agents are looking forward, they're looking backwards, and then you have commando-like guys who are off to the side ready to respond to terrorism. Just talk to us about how massive the security is.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I can give you a rough sense of it. It was something like the convention where you know very far in advance and you know it's going to be a major thing. It's going to attract people. You know, there's going to be infinitely more of that. They're never going to let you know how many people they have. I mean, when I was in the crowd watching when Bill Clinton landed in a sports field in Winnetka when we lived up there. And someone was making a comment, and I said, "You better be quiet because there are unidentified Asians walking around." And it's not like the person went. It was kind of, boy, how easy it would be. And I said, really, you want to be really careful. You might find yourself in handcuffs really fast because they do move through the crowd. They will have people on the perimeters. They will have people near him. And you notice they very quickly whisked him away.
Yes.
This is all in the sadly, 50 years ago, the aftermath of the Kennedy assassination, which was obviously colossal. But they're never going to let you know how much and so on. But there's so many of these. It's really, really hard to do. And an individual who doesn't mind dying is able to sometimes get lucky, and it's fortunate in one sense that he did miss, but tragic that somebody he wasn't even intending to kill died.
Yeah, somebody who probably waited hours upon hours to go to this rally has now lost his life. Tom Makaitis, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, somebody who was, no matter what we think of their politics, was an ordinary, decent human being with a family who is now grieving a terrible loss that is tragic and senseless.
And two others critically wounded, we learned as well from
it may be more as it unfolds. That often happens, too.
Yeah.
Terrorism expert Tom Makaitis, thank you so much for joining us. We will be in touch with you in the coming days, perhaps coming hours, depending on what we learn.
Well, I'm available. I'll have my phone by me, so call when you need me to.
We appreciate it. He said the absolute, thank you. He said the absolute right thing about the restraint shown by the former president in his statement. We've seen lots of responsible people being careful about what they're saying, even as the internet is a dumpster as it kind of is tonight, as it often is.
Yeah, we'll try and give you the straight and narrow. In the meantime, we are going to go back to News Nation for continuing coverage.